White House who are in there tap dancing for massa, wearing bow ties, shinning and grinding, laughing like nothing is funny. I ain't afraid of the spooks that sat at the door. These runaway slaves hiding in the White House gonna throw my picture up thinking that I'm gonna be afraid.
I'm about to enjoy this. He's talking about the black people who went to Donald Trump's Black History event at the White House this month. I was there. Now, it's funny because many of us are operating on outdated software and we don't even realize we're operating on outdated software. Obviously, you can see he called black people that were at the White House a certain word. By the way, this is a pastor. But I want to get past that and I want to go to the runaway slave topic and tap dancing for massa and all this stuff. Let's go back in time to 1860. 1860 was the year before the Civil War. In 1860, you can see that virtually 10% of black people were free and 90% were enslaved. Pause to read if you want, but keep these numbers in mind. 10% free, 90% on plantations, enslaved. Now remember, he's calling the people who were at the White House, basically the people who voted for Trump, coons, they're runaway slaves, they're all these things. Now let's compare these numbers that I just showed you with the black vote. In the 2024 election, 13% of black voters supported Donald Trump, while 86% still voted for Kamala Harris. Very similar numbers. Now, what party is Kamala Harris? Democrat. What was the main political force in the South during the Civil War? The Democrats. What were they fighting for? The right to keep their slaves. I mean, they needed somebody to pick the cotton, right? Now let's listen to a representative of the Democratic Party today.
Immigrants are us. Immigrants are us, and we all deserve respect and dignity. If you look at the food that's on your table, think about who picked it. If you look at your home...
So the Democratic Party in the past was focused on continuing to get free labor, and now the modern version of the Democratic Party is continuing to want to keep immigrants here illegally so they can continue to be paid below par wages, cheaper labor. Interesting similarities, but we're not done. Remember, he said runaway slaves. So let's go back to this so-called pastor.
These runaway slaves hiding in the White House.
First off, a runaway slave is a person who literally ran away from the plantation. They ran away from slavery. They worked to escape. So not really a good term to use. I know some of you think you're smart. Well, that's not it, Jeffrey. You guys are runaway slaves because you've betrayed black solidarity. You guys are rejecting traditional cultural and community norms. You guys are running away from your roots. Let's think about this. Where did those roots grow from? Those roots are grounded in the plantations, on Massa's plantation. Now let's go back and think about this. 1860, 90% of black people were on Massa's plantation. Only 10% are free. And what party were the people that supported Massa's plantation? The Democrats. Now let's compare the numbers to today. 86% of black people are still voting for Democrats and are still on Massa's plantation. Only 13% are actually breaking free. And I find it so funny because many of these people try to accuse black people on the right of being stuck on that plantation, when in reality, they are the ones who are stuck on the plantation and they're trying to drag all the other black people back to the plantation for Massa. Democrats know that all they need to do is emotionally manipulate black people and they can get their vote. All you need to do is emotionally manipulate black people into thinking their opponent is racist and we'll vote for whoever you want us to. Democrats know this. That's why they continue to play the race card. It's useful for them. So people like this pastor are just useful idiots for the Democrats. They've tricked him and millions of others into thinking they're off the plantation, when in reality, they're on the plantation and helping pull people back to the plantation for Massa. Funny how that works.